No, you definitely need it. Here you go.
And we can turn this one on somehow. I'll go and sort it.
Perfect. First of all, before we begin, are you enjoying? Have you had a good day so far?
Yes.
We're not finished yet. We've still got the after party and another board of directors to get through. But yeah, it's been an absolute labour of love for us, and it's just something that we really want to make sure that everyone is finding so much value in. But I'm not going to jibber on. We are going to get straight into our convo. We don't need to do the intro again. I think we've been
We're good. Do you all know who we are?
Yes. Brilliant. All right. So, you will notice actually there's a little typo. We're going to be really honest about that. So, this conversation is about how to generate six-figure contracts, having a small business, government contracts, as a small business owner. Now, it was meant to be 1 million, but as life happens, we didn't get a couple of contracts, did we? We lost them. So, in anticipation, I wrote 1 million, but actually, we're only on 700 at the minute, aren't we?
We are, but
no mean feat, ladies, no mean feat.
Absolutely. And we are so grateful for that, and we don't say it in the sense of being ungrateful, but what we're saying is business happens, and life happens, in business. And quite often we hear about the successes, the glamour, but as Jen said, we lost contracts. There are opportunities that we didn't get to pursue, which is why, that typo was there, because that was our goal, and this is where we got to, but we are still super proud of that and really grateful. And today, hopefully, we'll be able to share some of the ups and the downs, and the challenges is what you will all take bits from and grow from and learn from our mistakes so that you don't have to go through them.
Exactly. Now, you're probably thinking, how do you go from networking events to government contracts? So we're going to start with the beginning, first 3 years of HustleFest. So as you can see on screen, this is pretty much how it started out. We went over to Atlanta in America, and we were amazed by the hustle and the bustle and just the energy that business owners had. You'd be like, hi, what do you do? They're like, I do this. And I'm like, right, okay, cool. Never just one thing. And we were like, why don't we have that here in the UK? So we started out with lunch events. Remember, we had to beg people to come.
It was mainly our family that were at the lunch that we, as Jen said, begged to come, but they turned up and it grew.
Yeah. But we weren't naive. We didn't really have a clue what we were building. We sought some advice that maybe we shouldn't have done, paid loads of money for that, thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds, and had nothing to show for it. But just the reality of being naive, right? And I guess people seeing maybe something in us that we didn't necessarily see in ourselves, and we paid the price for it. But everything for a reason. We identified quickly that there was a gap in the market. There were many people who would come to our lunch events and they were like, I've got, my corporate hat on, Monday to Friday 9 to 5, but this passion within me that I want to turn into a business, but there's nowhere for me in the corporate world to have the space to be able to do that. So the lunch events was our thing, and how we began sort of growing and turning that into, I guess, what we were known for.
Who in here has ever been to one of the HustleFest lunches? Let's hear some OG. I love that. And you will know that for us it was really about capturing the excitement and the passion that people had, that creatives had, that people that were wanting to start their businesses had, and bottle that, just have that inner roots that people could feed off of that. And I think that that natural engagement, that sort of, when you see someone that gets it, that gets your passion, that is really what made those lunches such a success. And the support network, as Jen was saying, when we were in America, even if people had the same businesses, they were not competing. They were working and strategizing to find out how can we work together to grow collectively. And that, the essence of that, is really what underpinned HustleFest and has helped us all these years, and why I think so many of you are in the room, because you just want to connect and network with other people that get it, that will help you to grow your business. And so that is one thing, one thread that will always run through HustleFest and who we are.
About this side, I want to turn over here so you can see me too. But the first 3 years, look, full of ups and downs. We didn't really know what we were doing, we were just kind of figuring it out as we go. But people kept turning up to our lunch events, so we kept selling out. And marketing, we didn't really need to do it, did we? Because people tell a friend once they got there, and people just kept coming back and back and back and back. So that's the beginning of HustleFest and how we kind of got the name of being there to do networking events and so on and so forth. So I'm now going to hand over to you guys to ask some questions about maybe those beginning through journeys. But one thing that a few people do want to share is the strategies and the solutions that helped us to navigate those first three. And for those of you who are thinking about maybe starting out in business, now the first thing that we've taken away is just to start and perfect and develop as you grow. So many businesses that we work with, we coach, we support, they just, they get really held up on this idea of being the most perfect thing before giving it to the world, and it's just like, no one knows what your perfect is meant to look like, right? So just start and develop as you grow. Our branding did not look anything like this. Do you know what? Someone actually showed, I think it was Mahawa, she showed me our first event, and I was like, put that down, that's awful. But yeah, like you just start and you grow. So yeah, definitely just get that one going.
Yeah, forget the vanity metrics. Numbers are only useful if they are feeding into your strategy. Do not get caught up by the numbers that just it's a look good thing. We're not here for that. It needs to be data that is actually driving your business. Those are the only numbers that you need to focus on. Have your North Star, have that anchor, have that one thing that you are focused on, that everything that you do has to be aligned with that one thing, that guiding star to get you to where you need to be. That's so important, just to have that focus, that just laser focus, and make sure that you know where you're going and you're guided by that North Star, whatever that is for each of you.
And the next one is to not reinvent the wheel. Now, essentially, you could have said, right, well, networking events, they existed, but not in the way we saw them happen in America. So it wasn't anything new that we did, we just brought a different energy.
It was new.
Yeah, but they couldn't go for what we...
No.
Exactly.
But it wasn't then for the creative industry, right?
Yeah,
Networking,
exactly. Dry, boring, dusty. But we saw an energy and a life that we wanted to bring here. So we were like, okay, we're going to do something that already exists in America, but bring it here and do it different. So not necessarily reinventing the wheel, like how can you add a spin to something to make it a little bit different is essentially what we're saying. We're going to stop talking now, that's within our journey. We're going to hand over to you to ask some questions. I know Ruben's probably
Yeah, no, I'm here. And you know, I'm just watching the dynamic between you two, that mini bicker, that was beautiful. Because I imagine that is the dynamic between you two. It's like you're agreeable, but sometimes you're not. And I think that's what's beautiful about you, and the fact that you've evolved. And you can actually maintain like a friendship through conflict. Because not everyone can do that, you know, that's massive. Alright, we're going to go to questions. We're floating around with two mics, one on this side, one on that side. Okay, we've got one in the corner.
I'm coming. Sorry. This is what we say, come to the front. You know what I'm saying? Hello everybody, my name is Mahal Kumar and I am a business development expert. So I've been part of Hustle+Heels actually since 9 years when they first started. So I'm really interested to know, at the end of 2019, when the changes came, how were you guys able to like pivot and then essentially just move from what we knew Hustle+Heels for into a whole different area?
I was like, 2019, what happened?
I know, what's she talking about?
We were just agile, we were flexible, and we said, look, what can we do to actually continue, make sure that the service continues, that we're there to continue that support for business owners. Let's try and switch it online and see how that works. And that was incredible for us. Everyone was so appreciative of having that network, that support network at that time, because people were just like, what is this? Okay, I can still work from home and do my side hustle, or I'm on furlough. A lot of people were on furlough, and that worked brilliantly for them because they were able to build up their own businesses. And having the support of Hustle+Heels to guide them through that and just switching everything online, the training, the webinars, the networking, people were still able to connect. And it was just that agility and listening to the community, making sure that we were meeting people at their point of need as that changed. And that's what we've done throughout the journey, not only in 2019, but as the years have gone on. Hence why HustleFest is here, because it is a response to calls from the community. Is that for now? But yes, that's what we've done in 2019. We were just agile and we listened to what people were telling us that they wanted.
We got another
I'm
one.
coming.
And then in the middle. And then we're going to move through.
Yes. I wanted to ask, how did you decide what your North Star was? And if you could share what it is.
You know what? It's community and a safe space first and foremost. We didn't really know what we had created, and we spent a lot of time asking the network, like, why do you keep coming back actually? Because in order to market something effectively, you need to know what it is you're selling, right? And we actually didn't know. People just kept signing up. So we spent a lot of time speaking to our community, speaking to our audience, and I'll probably tell you, because she's filled out 1,000 surveys for us. But what is it that you want, right? And that is what has enabled us to build, adapt, and develop. Like HustleFest today is only here because this is what our community told us we wanted to do. Doing a big event was always something that we really wanted to do, but how we were going to do that, the community decided. So for us, it's making sure that the people that you're serving are front and centre of every decision that you make. Now, not everyone's going to have like the answer for you, or be able to tell you the right thing, but it's getting as many voices and many opinions as possible to be able to then dissect actually what the mass need is for you then to fill. And for us, we've just really understood that business support and helping people to navigate the ups and downs of business in a really real and authentic way is what people want. They don't want to hear about the bits and glam. They don't want to hear everyone's highlight reel. And that's what we really focus on doing. And bringing you people that you wouldn't typically expect to see on stage. And we're going to get into it, but we definitely feel that sponsors maybe didn't want to sponsor because it wasn't a typical headline act. So that's a risk we took, because it was just like, I can tell you every professional speaker's story, you probably heard it yourself. But actually, who are those people that are behind the scenes, building the big businesses that you don't often hear about a lot? Now, some of these people that grace the stage have been incredible, right? And it's that we wanted to take the risk on, and we will continue to do things differently to make sure that you guys are happy, really.
We've got time for one more in the middle, I think. Is that Lady White? Was that, yeah? Yeah.
The move. Hi ladies. In terms of the journey thus far, probably preempting the question a little bit, but of the various individuals and companies that you've worked with over the years, what has been one of the touching stories that has really sort of inspired H&H to keep going? Obviously there are probably a myriad, so many, but what is one of the ones that comes to mind?
That's difficult.
I've got a good one.
You got a good
actually.
one?
I have.
Go on.
Since we're talking about government contracts, we haven't got to that part yet, so actually working with the local authorities, because I guess for a long time, the businesses within the boroughs have been underserved and undersupported, right? These high street businesses that have been absolutely struggling through the pandemic have had no support. And going in and saying, we can help them, we can do this, and we're going to show you how we're going to do that differently, has been a lifeline for so many businesses. There are businesses that have been able to continue as a result of the free support that we, our consultants, have given them, because their government, their local authority has paid for it. Now, these businesses didn't have that additional cash during the pandemic to pay for that. But some of that support has enabled them to keep their doors open, keep their staff paid, keep those livelihoods afloat, and that, I think, has been the most meaningful and touching. Because let's be honest, we started with networking events, so how the hell we got to, business support is something we didn't really set out to do, but has, I think, had one of the biggest impacts in terms of making sure that the high streets across London have still been able to continue going, because of the support that we've been able to plug into them by convincing the local authorities that we can get in there and support them. So let's talk about that a bit more. The middle of the journey. Going to start that.
So, we spoke about the challenges, not only the highs but the lows, and as it says, that lack of innovation, that almost sort of that complacency almost, that it's working, this is okay, let's keep going. That lack of challenge, that was a risk for us, right? And it caused a decline in guest numbers. We now started to see other networking companies crop up, right? So what's different between us and them? We've been doing this. how are we going to inject that excitement again, that energy that we brought at the beginning, how are we going to bring that back to the network, how are we going to expand it so that it's actually not just about the community, but as Jen said, we're actually out there in various different boroughs working with people on a bigger scale, on the high streets, right? And so that lack of innovation, that was a real big risk for us as a business, and it was really important that actually, again, we sort of looked at the business model that we were open and willing enough to try and do something that we hadn't done before, and that came from a conversation with your husband, right, Jen?
We did a really hard, horrible conversation, and I actually don't know why I made my husband after that. But yeah, that was one that, you know, those conversations that you didn't know you needed. So I remember we first started dating, and he was like, I'm not being rude, but all you do is type away on the computer, you have these lunch events, and if I was an investor, I would invest in that. Can you imagine?
Rude. But it was a wake-up call we needed.
I did not sleep for a week, let me tell you, because I was like, there's no way we could be building what we're building and some man comes and tells us that he wouldn't invest in this. But what that did was made us figure out another way to evolve things. Because like Jay said, we got complacent, right? We were running up the hype, everyone turning up to events and coming and loving them. But actually, like everyone else was doing that now, so what next? Like how do you, stay relevant? So he opened our eyes up to, the opportunity that was providing business support to local high streets. He worked within a local authority. He said, they'll pay you to do this. Like, figure out how you're going to do it, put together a proposal and present that and pitch that to them. So that's kind of what we did. We put together a contract, like a proposal that was under 10k. So that's a little tip. If any of you are thinking of going for government contracts, they can typically pass something within any one department without it going out to public tender if it's under 10k, right? So if there's anything you're thinking of doing, providing a service to a local authority, try and make sure that you resource that under 10k, because it's an easier yes than if it's something like 50, 60, 70k. They have to, because it's public money, right? It's your taxpayers' money. So if you get it in under 10k and you get the ear of someone who loves the concept, they can usually run that for you. We put together a proposal. He was also working in a local authority at the time. He said, look, there's an opportunity coming up. I'm not involved on it, but if you get this proposal right, you could potentially win. Now, you don't have to tell me and Jamie twice. I think we went above a bit. I think we actually done the work before we got the contract. We went out interviewing the businesses, like what do you want, how do you want this support to be delivered, and so forth. We put the proposal together. So when we got in there, in the interview, his boss was just like, who are they? Where did they come from? This is what we're looking for this whole time. And it was something so fresh and unique to what they had been currently receiving by way of business support. She couldn't say no. We had to hide the fact that we were dating, because obviously that's like you bringing your partner in. But he actually wasn't on the panel. I will openly say he wasn't on the panel. But yeah, he's like, yeah, sure he weren't. I bet he was. No, genuinely, he wasn't. And that was the start of our first 10k contract, wasn't it?
It was, and I think the important thing to know, a couple of important things, it's good to talk. Quite often we have ideas, we don't want to share them with people, right? Have your trusted people that you speak to, that you share your ideas with, because they will challenge you and they will say to you, what, you're still doing that? What about? Yeah. Sometimes those negative comments are where the best learnings are, and they will challenge you to go that bit further. That conversation that Jen had with her husband at the time, yes, as much as it was like rude, feisty, but actually it made us go in a different direction, right? And it brought, as Jen said, that first 10k contract, which at the time we were like, what? £10,000?
We won the lottery.
Yeah.
Exactly,
at once, exactly. And like Jen said, it's really important that actually you go above and beyond. Just whatever they're expecting you to deliver in the first instance, how can you top it? Yeah. Always try to over-deliver, and that is what will really set you apart from other applicants, because we walked in there, 2 young black girls, and they were like, the way that we presented and what we were going to do for these businesses, it was completely different in terms of that cultural awareness for the high street businesses that we were looking to serve. And so always try to figure out, what is it that I'm bringing to the table that can go above and beyond what you've asked, but also how can I add value to the people that I'm serving? And that's what we spoke about when we went into those interviews.
Yeah. I'm going to move on because I'm conscious at time, but one thing I just want to add to that is data. We, as I said, did a lot of the work before we actually got the contract. But if you can go out and speak to the community that you're saying you want to serve, right? Get evidence that there is a need for this, and then show that to the council. They can't then say no, right? So that is something that we did. We went to the businesses and we were like, do you want business support? How do you want it delivered? What do you want it to look like? What do you want us to cover? And we presented that in our interview. So they couldn't say no at this point. And we were up against people, yes, that had done it for like 10, 20, 30 years.
But they were complacent.
So data. Well, I guess we touched on the first one, haven't we? Complacency during your business. But tapping into existing contacts, really important. Jay and I, are very independent and we try and do everything by ourselves, but yeah, we realise that it's not something that we need to do when we have such a big community. And a lot of our growth and development and getting into certain doors has been as a result of speaking to people, asking them their thoughts on something, and then saying, do you know what, I've got a person that connect you with that I think you need to speak to, and that's how we got into certain doors and having certain conversations with people that have actually really moved the needle for us.
And obviously we talked about starting out with the networking lunches, and then this is how we developed, and it's about thinking about what other streams of revenue can I interject into my business, what else is complementary to what I'm already doing, that's not going to take away, that's not going to require resources that you can't fulfill, but actually what else can I do in order to generate those other streams of income, because that one and the first one, they're linked, right? So if you get complacent and you don't think about ways of diversifying, you don't think about ways of interjecting other streams of revenue, it's really going to be the downfall of your business. And it's so important, as it says, to stay 2, 3, 4 steps ahead, and thinking about those other ways of diversifying is how we do that.
We're now going to open up some questions before we go into the last section, but while you're prepared, who's going to answer questions so Jodine can run to the back, okay, or the front. But while we're doing that, another thing I want to say, just in terms of like takeaway for you all, for those of you who are thinking about approaching your council to see if there is a project or proposal you can put forward, if you go onto the London Council's website, there is a list of every single department within every single borough, within every single council, so you can identify who it is you need to speak to. Now, top tip, start at the top, call the CEO. The CEOs of every council have definitely heard from me. And I'm like, right, who do I need to speak to about X, Y, and Z? If your CEO or the director tells you, speak to this person, you're going to do that quicker than me going to that person who's just going to fob me off and not prioritise it. So I always start at the top and work my way down. So go onto the London Council's website, find out who is leading in that borough. Also speak to the councillors as well. If you can get the ears of the councillors, helping them to identify how they can solve a problem through your service offering, that's a really great way to get in as well. I can take some questions.
We got time for 2 questions.
2 questions, okay. So obviously what happens when you sit at the front is I'm going to come to the front first. So.
Sorry, the questions got a little bit general in terms of kind of getting stuck in innovation, stuff like that, and so it's not about councils. So the question's generally not about councils, but I was wondering, in the future, with your HustleFest, would it sort of involve maybe encouraging businesses in the UK to bridge to businesses like in Africa, where you might feel there's lots of opportunities and the community's already here? So, yeah.
I mean, look, it's not for us to tell people what they need to do with their businesses. It's really for us to share our stories and have that diversity of conversations so that people can see what's possible. There are so many people here. Mahawa, who spoke before, she went over to Africa, right? She moved her business over to Africa, and the support that HustleFest provided, and I'm not going to tell her story, I'm not going to testify for her, but she'll do that for you. That supported her on that journey. So absolutely, regardless of where the business wants to go or where the business owner wants to take their business, yes, we will support that in the way that we can. We will connect you with people that we can that are in the wider network. One of the things that's so important for us, as Jen said, it's not about reinventing the wheel, it's about looking at that ecosystem, and HustleFest is really about bringing other business support providers together. There are so many business support providers in here. that will be able to support you, whether you're here, whether you're abroad. And for us, as long as we can signpost people on, if it's not a support service that we can offer, we will absolutely do that. If international trade is what the business needs and what you're set up to do, absolutely, we will champion that and encourage that and support that, whatever that looks like. So yes, we'll support that to the extent that we can. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, we've got one over there on the mic already. Yeah, sorry.
Hi ladies, my name's Feliciana and I'm interior designer. Feliciana. Thanks. I'm an interior designer. My business is called Felly Home and Interiors, and I love teaching. So when you've mentioned that, get in touch with your local authorities, do you need to have the business registered as a social enterprise, like a
CIC, or no, not at all. We're a limited company.
Okay.
So yeah, you don't, at all. It's just understanding what, go and look at how your local authority is structured, right? So you've got education, you've got business support. Where would you see that best fitting in terms of interior design? It could be working with the employabilities department, right? Because people that might, want to transition into interior design, to just be really, really clear on that and put together a proposal, just be really clear in terms of what it is you want to propose. But no, you don't have to be a social enterprise. Think you have to do that.
Okay. But also, if you have questions like that, you can ask them. Ask them what are the criteria, and then you know what you need to do to set yourself up to be in the best position to put yourself forward. Thank you.
Can we get this lady at the front?
Yeah, I've got a mic.
What would be your biggest piece of advice going from, I guess, a team of two, start up, to, I assume, a bigger team, scale up? Because obviously there's a lot of steps and processes that go to that, but if you could go back and sort of say what would be, do you know what I mean, that transition, it's very different operating as a kind of team of two or team of one.
Yeah.
In my case, to a bigger team and navigating it without burning out, I guess.
Do you know what we've been? Okay, just to the point about burning out, and this is an exercise that I had someone do recently, someone I was coaching. Write out everything that you do as an audit, right? Every single thing that you do as an audit, right? And then circle everything that only you can do, and put an X or whatever next to everything you can outsource. Then that essentially is a job description for the person that you then need to hire. A lot of businesses don't do that quick enough, and you end up burning out because we try and do all the things. And when you actually do an audit and take stock of everything you're doing, you realise that how the hell am I meant to do all of these things or grow or scale? Because I'm now limiting the growth of my business because I'm trying to do all the things. So that as an actions takeaway, write a list on every, from opening emails, get granular with it, circle everything that only you can do, outsource everything else, and that is the job description for that person. We've been really fortunate in that we have been able to grow our teams from within the community, and we're very big on that. We have amazing experts that support us, and we're if we're going to get the government contract, we're going to bring them in and put them on. So all of our experts that deliver on our government contracts are businesses from essentially within the community that we've known, so we've not really had to go too far. If you're good at what you do, and you can bring the results, because essentially we are targeted, right? We have outputs that we have to hit every month, every quarter for our clients. As long as you can ensure that we get them, we'll bring you in. And we've been fortunate because we've got a community of experts. We're right, we need an expert to do that, an expert to do that, and that's how we've been able to grow and scale the team. And then just in terms of engagement support, we realised that the quickest way to get high street businesses to engage on a programme is actually to deliver that support on a high street level. So we've got a business engagement team where we actually get people in stores, we take the support to people rather than expecting them to come to us. Yeah, I hope that helped. Have we got, I can see the next panel. Yeah. Hey! Or hi. You're like, what? I'm not on yet. So I can see that they're here, so we need to hurry up. We'll quickly go on to the next one. Right, so From our first 10k contract, we realised that we could do this and do it really, really well. Now, you have to make sure that you're hitting your targets and your outputs. That is one thing. Please don't go in there and give them a whole proposal about what you can do and then do not deliver, because they will just pull the money and not continue to commission you. Now, the whole tendering process can be intense in terms of they'll usually go out publicly to tender on websites such as London portals, Pro, Contract, Due North. I hope you're taking notes of these. And that's where a lot of local authorities put out their government contracts. So you can see what's happening. If you just search keywords like business support or things that your business offers and provides, you'll get a short list of opportunities that come up. Now they will range some from, usually if they're going live to public, they're usually more than about 10k. They can go from 20k, 30k, 50k, a million sometimes. They're looking for big, big organisations. But just look through the specification before you apply to make sure that you're eligible. That is one mistake we've definitely made. We saw £1 million contract. We were like, yeah, we can do that. And then we sat down with someone who's going to help us to, because we also commission bid writers sometimes. That's another thing we'll talk about quickly. And we realised, she was just like, well, she went through the qualifying, she's like, you don't meet any of this. So, although you think that you can do this, so that is another thing. Read the eligibility criteria first. Our biggest contract today is just under 200k that we secured for a 1 year contract. And they paid us all in full for that, didn't they? Usually they pay you quarterly. Yeah, they pay us, usually they pay you quarterly. But that's just to give you a size of an idea of the types of contracts that are out there. So start small. We started from a 10k contract and we worked our way up. We're now in a position now where also organisations are coming to us. If you're really good at what you do, you hit those targets. And to talk on targets, for example, one of our current contracts we have with Haringey, we had 100 local residents to help to support to start a business, 100 existing high street businesses to support over an 18-month period, and 50 of those had to receive intensive support. So that was like more than 5 to 6 hours of support. So, and every quarter they bring us in and they're like, send us a report of where you were at on that, So they're on us. So we have to make sure that our team, as I was talking about, absolutely do deliver. That contract is due to end in March 2024. My team was so phenomenal that they have already completed the targets on that. We are in, what month are we now? I don't even know. September. There's still all those months left. We've already hit those targets, and now they've recommissioned us and decided to pay us another 80k to support more businesses. So if you're really, really on job and good at what you do, they will recommission you to do the work. So that's definitely, this is just such a great way of generating income for your business if there is a service that you can offer your local authority that I do want to tap into. I do want to, you all to think about and tap into. We kind of spoke about building teams. Should we talk about HustleFest a little bit and how we got here?
Yeah, one of the things that I'll just add to what Jen said is relationship building is so important. Do not underestimate the power of it. And a lot of the contracts that we've had, those relationships, it doesn't end with the end of the contract, right? It's really important to keep in contact with people so that when the opportunities come up, you're first and foremost in the front of their minds. When the opportunity is about to come up, you know about it so that you can prepare and get prepared. So make sure that you maintain those relationships with the people that you're speaking to, because you just do not know how it's going to develop and what's going to come out as a result of that. And quite often, if you're not in the room, they can advocate on your behalf. So we may not be at a meeting when there are local authorities together, but someone in that room is going to speak about HustleFest because of the work that we've done in their local authority. And other people are going to be like, oh, who are these people? Let me find out about them. And that's really important, having people on your side that are going to advocate on your behalf, and that comes from doing the work and over-delivering, like Jim said, hitting those targets way in advance of the deadline, making sure that you over-deliver, you add value to the businesses that you're supporting. Those are all things that will really make a difference, because when those councillors and those local authority employees are able to go to their bosses and say, yeah, this programme, they over-delivered, the high street's thriving, we've got all of these new businesses in the area, they're going to want to know who done it and how. So make sure that you are over-delivering, building those contacts, building those relationships and maintaining them beyond the life of a contract, engagement, or even just, speaking to someone at an event like this.
Can I also just add, sorry, so I know people but just quickly, as much as we are talking about the contracts we have won, and that it has been split across, I think about 21 contracts. 22 contracts. We've also currently got one with the British Library as well. Just to give you an idea of it, although it's government, local authorities, there's also different organisations within that you can bid for work for. But we, as I said, by today, our plan was that we would have won about 300k's worth of more contracts, and we lost out on them. And that's for a variety of reasons. One, probably our pitch wasn't good enough, although at this point, I'm just like, we've got this down to a T. But also, if the relation part is key, right? If someone else knows someone on that board, they're going to give it to them. So these are all things that you have to weigh up. Like, we'll see some contracts and some tenders, and these things are long. They are going to take weeks and weeks to put together. And you think, is it worth it if they're just going to give it to their friend? And as I said, about 300k worth of contracts this year that we believe we should have got, we didn't. But yeah, that's the reality of it as well. Like, we're talking about these numbers, but it is we're losing out on opportunities as well. Do you do questions quickly?
Yeah, let's go into questions. I can see some hands up.
I have a question here, just one with the.
Okay.
She held off, so I'm just going to start with her.
Hiya, my name's Lizzie. Just a quick question. Myself and my sister, we're from Fashion Music. We work with a lot of creators and lots of startup kind of businesses. But just a question to both of you. Like, you know, like a program like Train the Trainer, like the teacher needs to train themselves. So what support do you have for yourselves? Because we're tired.
Honestly, do you know what? One thing that I will say our community don't do enough is invest in ourselves, right? Our counterparts will pay thousands and thousands and thousands for the top experts in their field, and we just started doing the same. I'll be real with you. We have spent tens of thousands of pounds on consultancy because we know in order to be the best at what we do, we have to find that money to do it. Like, we sometimes have reached our ceiling of understanding of what we need to do to be able to move forward. So I'm going to get someone else in to be able to say, how do we do that? How do we navigate that? And what do we need to do to be able to move forward? So that is really the reality of it. Like, find the best in the field and pay the price. Yeah, honestly. And like, when it comes to your business, we can't continue to keep scrimping and saving, you know, and because the difference is very, very clear. There's businesses that will come up to me, oh, you know, my business is great and I'm not in Selfridges, I'm not in this. And I'm like, it's very clear why. You haven't invested in the branding. You haven't, as good as the product is and it may work on the skin, that's not going to sit on a shelf next to some of the brands that don't even do a good job because you haven't invested in it. So we've just got to start paying the money. Really, that's just the truth of it. And, you know, that is something that we commit to. For the right people, because we have absolutely been wronged.
You do need to know who you're trusting and do your due diligence on people. Don't take their word for it. So make sure you're investing your money wisely, but invest it in yourself and your business development.
And ask them to speak to some of their clients and say, oh, would you mind? And if they're good at what they do, they shouldn't have a problem with you doing that. Yeah.
Just a question over here, ladies.
Hi, so my name's Colette. I run a brand and strategy consultancy called Brand by Me, and congratulations first of all on your growth. I love to see it. But my question is for you both as founders. I can see that you've got a team, you've built a team for maybe the delivery of those contracts. So what's your role now in your business as founders? How has that shifted over the 3 stages?
What a question!
And it's very personally relevant. I need to know this now.
The point about building the team is so that you can try and move away from the doing and you can more strategize and work on what's happening on the back end and making sure that actually, like Jen was saying, you're winning those contracts to bring the money in so that the team can execute and deliver on what you say that you do. It's getting the balance right. It's understanding, okay, sometimes there has to be flex in that. Sometimes you are going to have to do the work, but you need that brain space. You need that time. You need that you need that freedom almost to strategize, to think about how can I build the business, how can I work on the business as opposed to working in it. And that's the whole point about growing the team, right? Making sure that you've understood what needs to be done, but not necessarily doing it. Having other people that are better at that to do that for you, so that you can build them up whilst also building your business up. And that's why it's never about just the two of us. Actually, it's a bigger thing, right? Those contracts that we win, it's not for us. It's for building up the business, but also we're so privileged to be able to give these opportunities to other people that are great at what they do, and we don't pretend to say that we're the experts doing this element or that element or this element within the contract proposals that we do. We talk about those people that are going to come in, those consultants that are going to support us, because they know their stuff, they're doing their thing, and we're trying to build the business from the bottom up. And it's about that, having that differentiation between the execution and the strategy, and figuring out who sits where in doing that.
And also, practically, that audit that I just spoke to this lady about, doing that. Like, it's such a simple thing to do, but that is going to give you such clarity in your business in understanding what only you can do. We used to outsource our bid writing, because who wants to write thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of words that might not even get through? But the people that we were hiring, they were just copying and pasting the contracts from before. I couldn't believe it.
We were so there.
Yeah, we were paying the one for Bromley, and the woman's weren't in. Like, it was a joke. So we quickly realised that as much as we hate doing it, we are the ones that can win these contracts. So we have to do that. And it's about, as I said, outsourcing the other things that we can do. And we'll be very transparent. Our virtual assistant up here, who's heard of Vanessa? Yeah, everyone probably heard of Vanessa. She's based in the Philippines. She doesn't, and it's because it's the most efficient and affordable way for us to be able to outsource a lot of the administration while we can focus on the doing. Likewise with our projects, we resource them based on the doing that needs to be done. We get the best people in to do that. So Jay and I can focus on running the business, supporting the community, writing the contracts, the worst part for me, but the thing that brings in the money. So yeah, just that audit though.
Thank you so much.
Ruben, do you have time for?
We're already over time.
Okay.
But we can do one more,
and then
yeah.
That's it. We've got.
I feel really bad. I'm sitting next to the lady that I'm about to give the mic to. I can see the beautiful lady in the pink. So can we maybe find some time at the end for the lady in the pink?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Hi ladies, so my name is Blessing, and in my day-to-day I'm in financial services, but I've just started my side hustle as well, so it's like gift concierge services and just kind of event concept design. And I wanted to ask about, how do you balance your main customer segment with, I guess, the customer segments which you're required to reach through the contracts that you do? Because you spoke about how targets need to be fitting into the strategy, and you need to make sure it all works in conjunction with each other, but at the end of the day, there's a business, you kind of need to get that money. So how do you balance kind of, deciding what comes first, and which makes up most of what you're doing, and what sort of thought process goes into that?
Very easily, the money.
I was just going to say,
money talks,
the money. Like, what is going to pay the bills of the business? I'll be very real with you. The networking events we started out with, they were great and they were fantastic, but we barely broke even on those, and we were funding those. So moving into the government contracts and having that additional income has enabled us to get to a point where we can put on a bigger event like this that benefits more people, essentially, right? And yes, we can kind of break out and do the smaller events again, but the bread and butter has to be key. Like, you have to be able to run a sustainable, profitable business, and it's focusing on what's bringing in the money first. So our two main target audiences are our local government authorities, but also the HustleFest community. We still make sure that we support them, but the money that we're going to be able to do that has to come from the councils. So we have to make sure that we're applying, we're winning, we're delivering on those, so we can draw down on some of that money to put on events like this. Because we'll be real with you, the sponsors weren't sponsoring. So this is all HustleFest money.
We sponsored our own.
We sponsored our own event. And it should have been different, but it wasn't. But next year it will be, because you're all going to come back and support and be here, right? So,
right?
Yeah. Right? Yeah, no, but that's the reality of it, right? So I guess taking money from those who are giving it to you to be able to put on events like this, because we know that this is what the community need, but just because of where the community are at in terms of them building their businesses, they don't necessarily have the money to give you, the grants that you need to be able to put on what you want to for them. So yeah, focusing on the money first, and now we've done that, it's like, right, how can we draw down out of that to make sure the community is supported?
And just to go back to one of the things that I said before, that alignment is really important. So yes, you may be doing different things, but having them aligned, because there are elements of what we do in terms of the local authority delivery that people from within the core community can tap into, right? We work within the local authorities, and if you are in that catchment area, then you can tap into that free business support. The contract that Jen spoke about that we do with the British Library, you can still tap into it. And so when I say the ecosystem, it is really an ecosystem, and depending on where you can get in, then where you fit in, then you can get in. So having that alignment between the different elements of your business and what you're offering is also important, and how you can make sure that there is that crossover so that you're serving the different segments where you can.
What's the time?
It's way over time, we don't want to talk about that.
Way over
We
time.
definitely don't have more time for
Everyone,
questions.
where's the next track? Let's everyone get up, step dancing. The speakers, I don't know if you're ready to come on, we've got to come on now.
No, they don't have to come on now. No, we're all right. We've got 8 minutes before, we're going to have a breather for 8 minutes. And then we're going to bring...
Let the people then
I'm
do
going to
their
say,
own job.
you wrote the schedule. Yeah, all right.
And as promised, I'm going to come to lovely lady to pick.
10 minutes more for them to ask
No,
questions.
no. One second. You guys are 7 minutes over your allotted time that you allotted for you. Yeah? We need to take a breather to process all that information, and then we've got the board of directors coming on for a big chat. We just want a break. You don't want a break. Are you speaking on behalf of everyone's capacity?
No one wants a break!
Alright, you know what? You lot are CEOs in it. What do you want to do? Shall we carry on for like 2 minutes? Alright, you want to carry on?
Let's get this done.
Alright, but when the board of directors are due to come on, just cut the mics, don't even give us a warning. I don't want us to be late for them. But if you do need to go to the toilet, go.
Okay.
Come back. But
And-
what's the next question?
It's coming now, as promised. Lovely lady.
Thank you so much. My question is threefold. Firstly, my name is Evelyn. I'm a brand partnerships consultant and a personal branding strategist. And what I will say for HustleFest is I need to speak to you because we need to get you some big brand partnerships for next year. That's what I'm about. First, I just want to say that this is absolutely amazing. Like, I've learned so much today, and just everyone's honesty. I've got 2 questions. The first one is, how do you move this conversation outside? Because I feel like there's a lot of energy happening in there. Everyone's inspired, everyone's taking notes, but it's like, how do we keep this network moving where we're supporting one another? I feel like within, and I'm speaking specifically about the black industry, black community, there isn't much of, there's a lot of gatekeepers, right? And it's like people are sharing a bit of information and then they kind of disappear. How does HustleFest and how are you guys going to help us to move the conversation outside of this room so that it's actually beneficial for all of us? I'll give you a second to think about the answer. And then the second one was, you mentioned about local authorities that we can contact. You mentioned I can't remember, you said it quite fast, but I wanted to...
Pro contract due north. It's a really ugly name, but yeah, that's where a lot of the local authorities will list their live contracts on there. So just register, and then you can like put keywords in. So any contracts that come up, I'll either email you about, or we have our assistant just do like run keyword searches. So for like UK SBF is like a new pot of money that the government, central government's giving local authorities to be able to spend on business support. So a lot of the local authorities will call it UK SBF contract for business support. So those are the keywords she's searching, and then she'll just say, new contract opportunity, do you want to apply, do you want to apply, do you want to apply?
Yeah, I mean, for the left, you can tell them everything.
Yeah, but this is the you've got to make sure.
Right.
And then to the first question, has everyone joined the HustleFest WhatsApp group? Okay, so we should have sent you an email with the link to that. I know it's another WhatsApp group, but in terms of you being able to stay connected, I think that is the best way that we can be able to facilitate that. You spoke about gatekeeping, and that is one thing that we are so proud about the Hustle Heels community. If they know the answer, they're giving it to you. The same way we're just like, yep, here, da-da-da-da. A lot of people, well, from what we see in the Hustle Heels community, they are like that. Even those of you who have joined the HustleFest group, who are new to this, have been so helpful in terms of sharing with each other. It's been incredible, and that's what we want to see more of. So the WhatsApp group, just don't spam though, right? Like please, like not everyone wants to be sold to, so just be really respectful in that sense. But that is where we want everyone to start talking, connect. If you need something, be vulnerable and ask. That's the only way you're going to get it. But it happens in that group, and we will continue to listen to that and make sure that we're putting on events that are meaningful to you all.
But I'll be real, we can't do it for you. You have to do it. We are there as your support. We're there as the conduit. We are there as the people that will signpost or give you the tools, the resources, but you have to do the work. You have to come to us and say, I need this, or when's the next event, or what's happening, because like we said, our journey has really been shaped by the needs of the community, by the needs of you as business owners, and we only know that if you talk to us, if you give us that feedback, if you say, look, this was great, but I needed this, or that inspiration was great, what can I do now? It's really about you tapping into the support that's there, because it's there, trust me. Our website is full of opportunities, it's full of ways for you to network and connect, for you to upskill, for you to train. We've got the 12-month training program. Jen spoke about the WhatsApp group. That's one small element of it, and that's almost the social element, just to keep you going when you're feeling down. But actually, it's about the tools, the resources that are there, that are available, the training that we will give you. That is there. I'm seeing.
Alana's like, talk about the membership.
Yeah, and that's it. It's there. So it's not for us to do for you. We have given you the tools, and it's there for you to really make of it what you will.
All right, it's Megan. It's interrupting the whole flow.
I can see them, they're queuing up. They're about to.
I was going to say, could we have like a 2-minute breather before we bring them on?
No, really, no.
We do a little stage upset, restaging.
Can we give Jen and Jay a massive round of applause?
I mean, I feel like you deserve maybe like a little stand up on your feet, because a little something.